Alright guys, we're here at the ARG Open in Fort Worth, Texas, the ARG Circuit, I guess I should say, in Fort Worth, Texas, and we are joined by a really special commentator. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Fraser Smith. I'm here commentating on behalf of ARG, my team, and we have Patrick Hoban and Scott Paige in the finals.
Alright, and I'm Kayla Nelson. I've been one of the event reporters for this event, and we're just going to go ahead and cover things. Looks like Scott is going to take first turn here.
On the right-hand side of the screen, obviously.
Yeah, and Scott's on the right, Patrick is on the left. Looks like he's going to start with discarding Tempest and
Debris Dragon.
Yeah, Debris Dragon. And it looks like he's going to add Blaster to his hand.
Scott is playing a typical Dragon Ruler deck, and Pat is playing a Dragunity Ruler deck. So the Scott main decks Effect Veilers and Maxi and Crow. I mean, not Crow, but he main decks Swift Scarecrow, and I think that'll all come down to a really big influence on this matchup, especially Veiler against Dragunity.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a lot harder for Patrick to pull off any of his OTKs or any of his massive plays in this. It looks like we're just going to set one with Scott and pass back to Patrick for the first time in the duel, I should say. Patrick's taking a moment to think about his plays here. Now, what do you think that face down is, based on the deck list that we've seen?
You talking about let me think. I guess Scott could have a Regeki break set. He runs to emptiness, but I can clearly see one in his hand, so he didn't set it. I'm thinking he has a Regeki break set. He wouldn't set return for any reason, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It is nice kind of being able to see their hands just slightly. You know, we get a little bit of an advantage there.
Now, do you want to say, would you say that it might be an MST to hit the Dragon Ravine whenever it's played? Or do you think he would hold on to that and use it on his turn?
It's possible. It's definitely possible. Because he knows that Ravine matters to Pat more than it matters to any other player. Dragunities need their Ravine like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But if they have it, they have so much.
Blaster in the back row. It's Book of Moon.
Book of Moon. So we're all wrong, but that's okay. But he was probably thinking the same thing. He was probably thinking it was an MST or a Regeki break to hit the Ravine. So he made the smart play of discarding the double blaster to get it out of the way. And of course, we see Pat drawing so many cards with this deck. He's activated 7 swords and cards of consonance in the same turn. He also runs Reckless Greeds and Upstarts, so he makes sure that he can get to his combo plays, in addition to the fact that he has Dragon Ravine to set everything up.
It looks like Pat has his own Regeki break and emptiness in his hand, so that's really good too. Sets 2 back rows.
Looks like he's not setting the emptiness right now.
Neither one of them are setting their emptiness. They're waiting. That's really good, though, that they know that.
Exactly. They want to make sure they can get their plays off first.
I see a lot of players set emptiness without anything else and just negate the first summon. It's kind of like you didn't get any value out of that card like that. The card's supposed to seal the game.
Absolutely.
So we got some sword play going on.
All that sword play. Looks like he's going to add probably another Redox to hand, because there aren't really any good Earth Dragons other than Redox to add with Sacred Sword. So, places
Ravine
Dragon
over top of Ravine.
And activate Regeki break. It's another reason.
The emptiness.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Honestly, the Dragon Ravine is more important to him than the emptiness, because he has the Phalanx engraved, and he needs to guarantee that he can get that Dux next turn.
We're off to a very interesting start.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that there aren't any really major plays going on.
Now, we did have a question come up behind us as to why the Dragon Ravine that was already active was not destroyed when the second Dragon Ravine was activated. It has to resolve, I'm assuming?
Yeah, this Dragon Ravine does have to activate and resolve to destroy the other field spell by game mechanics. So, so if you chain MST or chain Regeki Break or a similar card to it, obviously the newest Dragon Ravine will be destroyed.
I'm not sure, but it looks like Pat does not have a hand.
That is correct. He kept the Vanity's Emptiness in his hand as his only card to discard with Regeki Break.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that I would say right now Scott is in a very strong position.
Absolutely. Obviously, card advantage matters so much more in this format than it has in others, especially coming from a format
He made
with...
Stardust. I would not have made Stardust.
Yeah, Stardust doesn't really seem like the
Oh,
card.
I think he does have a Regeki Break in his hand now.
He does have the Regeki Break, and he does also still have the Emptiness as well.
Yeah,
So,
I'm aware of the emptiness. I just think that I would probably went for a Scrap Dragon here, but we'll see how this turns out.
And we have an update that
of course, the Blaster did attack for 2,800 damage against him.
Warning. Okay, so now the Regeki Break is going to be very, very good.
Hoban.
Set 2. I think that emptiness is coming down now.
Yeah. So now he's down, or so now we have Patrick Hoban down to 3,200 life points after that warning in that Blaster attack. Let's see what he draws.
Scott Paige is still at a full 8,000.
Yeah. I imagine that there's not much that he can have in his hands, that he's not just going to want to just pitch right away for Dragon Ravine. Well, speak of, there we go. He drew the Ducks instead. So now, if he somehow manages to get some cards in his hand by banishing some dragons, then he can discard for Ravine this turn as well without having to use it to add Ducks to his hand.
That's very good that he drew Ducks like that.
Absolutely. Now it all comes down to what those back rows are, and we know that we are we obviously it can be the Vanity's Emptiness, but let's just go ahead and see what it is. So, and right now, Scott's trying to debate on a response to Ducks, which could be any number of things. It could be the Effect Veiler in his hand, if he has one, to stop Ducks from adding or equipping it itself. So
I mean, it looks like if he could just make if he can make Crimson Blader, the game is over.
exactly.
All he has to do now is just wait and make Crimson Blader, and he wins.
Yep, because there's not really much stopping power that Patrick can put on the field to keep Crimson Blader from just destroying it. Now, if he goes right now, instead of going into Crimson Blader, if he went into Colossal Fighter or into something else, if he went into Colossal Fighter and sat on that, and Scott didn't have a response to that, then obviously when you crash with the Crimson Blader, Crimson Blader's effect wouldn't activate, would it? Since they both go to the graveyard at the same time.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if Scott has Emptiness and Regeki Break set, he can just go activate Emptiness right now. Let's take 19 from Ducks. Pat ends his turn. He Regeki Breaks on the end phase, destroys Ravine, kills his own Emptiness, Crimson Bladers, and that's game. That would be it right there. But I don't know exactly what his setup is, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, so it looks like he's banishing 2 dragons, a Tempest and a Blaster, to get a Blaster from his graveyard back to the field. He's going to add Missile Tank to his hand. Now that will be a big play if he's able to get it off. If, for some reason, if there's an emptiness on the field, right now would be the time for him to activate it.
I think Scott might have let this go too far if I'm reading his back rows correctly. He also has an Effect Veiler, so none of this could really be happening if he wanted to. If I'm not mistaken, he has an Effect Veiler.
Yeah, he has to be pretty comfortable in his setup, or at least what he has engraved in hand, to let all of this go through and not really do anything about it. So it looks like Patrick's just going for damage right here, maybe, as opposed to going for any big synchro play.
Scott took a lot of time to think on his summons, and I'm thinking that Pat's obviously reading that you probably have an Emptiness set because you're thinking way too much now.
And obviously they're waiting to see if he's going to equip the phalanx to the Missile Tank.
So here's a Regeki Break, so he's going to stop the Missile Tank play, so there will be no synchro summons for this turn. Now, did he have a Redox engrave? I do not remember.
He does. Pat does not have a Redox yet.
Okay, so he is out of dragons to use for the summons.
His
He's used
graveyard's
red
actually
and
weak.
green, so...
Yep, attack for 17, attack for 28. Is that 45? So Scott is at 35. And this should be the end of the game right here.
It should, because Patrick doesn't have a hand. Scott, obviously he's waiting to activate that emptiness.
Pat didn't open up with, he opened up some good draw power, but he didn't open up, I guess, enough traps, or... Actually, he did. I can't say that, because he opened up Emptiness and Regeki Break.
Yeah. Would you have played it that way?
I don't play, it's hard to say. I don't know. Pat, I mean, I'm sure he's doing what he's supposed to do, but I have to further analyze this a little more. It just looks weird to me right now. The position he's in is so bad.
It is.
Like, and it's not even like Scott is playing all the cards that he could play to stop him. So like he was more permissive than he should have been, and Pat is still in a bad position. So I'm thinking that, I mean, I don't like the Dragoon deck honestly, but it's been working for him.
Yeah. I'm thinking what he was wanting to do is he's wanting to save the Baylor in his hand as his level 1 tuner to make.
He's
Crimson
making
Blade.
sure now that Pat has zero chance of winning this game. Like the way the game is going right now, there's no chance he has a win. He can summon the Baylor and make Crimson Blade right now. The game is just over.
Yeah. Now, how many blasters has he used? Has he banished both of them, or has he only used the 2 blasters so far? Because if he drew another fire to discard for blaster and could do something next turn, he might be able to survive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's possible, but it's not looking good because I'm pretty sure Scott still has emptiness set. He has a Crimson Blade to play coming, and he still has a hand. Like he just has everything going for him. The only thing that it looks like Pat has going for him is the Ravine, and that's not enough with no other cards.
Absolutely.
And here comes the obvious Crimson Blader.
Oh, Colossal Fighter.
That's different than we expected. It's because he's wanting to kill both monsters at once. Therefore, he doesn't get the blaster back. So that's another 1100 damage.
He has emptiness anyway. So like this game is just so.
Yeah, he shows his team, so that's the end of game 1.
And they just scoop it up and go to.